my name is Brittney, and I'm here to talk to you about research. But first, I would like to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a senior mechanical engineering student. I am involved in the College of Engineering Ambassadors, which is a recruitment group for the college, and I'm also a team lead for Design Build Fly, which is an engineering design team that builds remote controlled airplanes. And then we take that airplane to competition, and it's a national competition. Really fun to be involved in. I'm interested in pursuing a graduate degree, specifically a PhD in mechanical engineering studying thermal sciences, and ultimately I really want to work with turbines in either the aerospace or the energy sector. So this past year, I was entered into the McNair Scholars Program, which is a program to help underrepresented students pursue a graduate degree, specifically a PhD. They teach you all about graduate school and all of the necessary things that you need to do to get into graduate school, and they help you get those experiences so that you can successfully be admitted. So during this time, I was involved in a research project, and during this research project, I studied the thermal stability of cerium oxide on microstructured stainless steel, and that probably doesn't mean anything to you, so I'll explain it more. What we were focused on doing is creating a surface that basically repelled water. And the reason we wanted to do this is because we use condensation in many industrial applications, and we're specifically interested in power generation. So you might know or might not know that condensers are used in power generation, but current condensers are made of metals which cause water to condense in this film, and it covers the entire surface. And when this happens, it's actually insulating the surface and making it harder for that vapor to contact and then transfer heat. And so we want to make a surface that makes the water condense in droplets, which will make the water roll off really easily, improving heat transfer and improving the efficiency of the device. And so that's important because when you create a device that's more efficient, it's going to cost a lot less for different companies, and it'll improve how we actually supply power to different communities. So during this project, I got to do a lot of different work. One of the things that I did was conducted a literature review. And during this, I read a ton of different journal papers, which might not sound very exciting, but it's actually pretty interesting. And I tried to identify how these different journals were important and how the project that I was working on was going to add to the research that's currently been done and then all the research that's been done before. And so it's actually really exciting. After that, I conducted some experiments. And then after I finished conducting some experiments, I actually got to present my research. So I presented in two different conferences. Both of them were McNair conferences. One of them was at UNL, where all of the scholars got together and we did a symposium for people to come to and see what we've been working on. And then the other one was actually in Berkeley in California. So again, it was a McNair Scholars Program, so all of the scholars from everywhere in the US were there, and we got to see other people present about their research, and then we got to present ours to them. And so it was a really great experience. You got a lot of feedback, and you got to see what it was like to be part of a professional conference where you talk about the work that you've been doing. So then I also got to attend the research poster session at UNL. It's like 2 hours long. It sounds like it's way too long, but it actually goes by really fast. And you have a poster that you create, which is kind of like a condensed version of your research presentation. And you stand there and you get to talk to people about what you had been working on. I thought this was way more fun than actually presenting the conference presentation, just because you got to talk to a lot of different people and they come by and ask you different kinds of questions, and you get to talk about your research in just different ways to every single person. So it's actually really, really fun. During this time, I got to work on my communication skills. And so what that kind of means is that when you present research, a lot of times you have different audiences that you're talking to. And so sometimes there's going to be somebody who's in your field and they know exactly what you're talking about. And sometimes there's going to be people who are studying something completely different. So since I'm in engineering, it's maybe more fun sometimes to talk to engineers because you don't have to worry as much about what you say. But there'll be people who come up and maybe they're studying psychology or literature or something like that. And so you have to think about that audience and how you're actually going to talk about your research and what words to use, how technical to be. And so it really, really helps you with your presentation skills and how to actually reach out to other people and talk about what you're working on and get them interested and excited in what you're doing. And then it also helps you kind of condense down information that you need to talk about, because a lot of times research there's just tons of information there, and you have to be able to present almost all of it in like 10 minutes or less, or 15 minutes. And so it's really challenging to sit down and make a presentation and figure out, okay, what's the most important thing, and how am I going to convey this to everyone, and how am I going to make sure that everybody understands it. So it's a really great experience for anybody to participate in, because you get to have all of those communication skills that you're developing and practicing. So in addition to that, research actually helps you prepare for working in industry or just other avenues besides graduate school. And it does this just by introducing you to different things that you might get involved with in engineering. So one of the things that I kind of learned throughout working on my project is how manufacturing can actually affect what you're doing. And so for my project, we had an experimental setup where we had this chamber, and in the chamber we needed to try and connect thermocouples to it. Thermocouples, in case you don't know, they just measure the temperature of whatever you want to measure the temperature of. And so we had to come up with a way that we could put these in the chamber and still seal the chamber and fill it with any kind of gas that we wanted to. And so during that time, I suggested that we cut a slit into the side of our chamber so that the wires can just kind of thread through it. But what I didn't realize at the time is that when you're actually milling the lid or trying to cut this slit, you can't always do what you want to do. So the slit had to be pretty small and pretty close, so the tolerances were really tight, and the mills that we have aren't really capable of producing that. And so just working on that project kind of gives you some insight into how manufacturing and how designing and everything comes into play. And in case you're not sure, this works with any kind of design project as well, because anytime that you're designing something like a table, or with my design team, if you're designing an airplane, you have to make sure that whatever your plan is, it'll actually work and you can produce it, and it's not going to cost a lot, and you'll actually be able to manufacture it. So during research, you get a lot of exposure to manufacturing and other factors that come into play when you are an engineer. So it's a great experience for that as well. And then for anybody who is actually interested in doing a doctorate degree like I am, being a part of a research project gets you that experience that you need. So a lot of times when you're applying for graduate school, you have to have some research experience, and you need to be able to kind of talk about what your experiences were and how that's helped you develop as a student. And you're going to have a way better chance of getting into a program if you've already had that experience as an undergraduate and you're showing your interest and you're able to talk about all those skills that you need to do research later on. So overall, being a part of the Scholars Program and being a part of undergraduate research has been a really, really good experience. There's a lot of different skills that it helps you with, a lot of different parts of the project that are really exciting just to work on and to be a part of. You get to work in different teams, talk to different graduate students, undergraduate students, and see what they're working on, and hear a lot about technology and what's going on in the field. And so it's a really great experience. So I hope that you found this video interesting and hopefully very helpful for you, and I hope that you'll consider doing undergraduate research while you're here at UNL. And just so that you know, there's tons of faculty in the college that are always interested in students. They're always interested in reaching out to you and helping you succeed, and they're more than happy to take you on and have you work on their project as well.